If working harder feels less rewarding than it used to, you're not imagining it. For many people, life feels more expensive, progress feels slower, and stability feels harder to maintain, even when they're doing everything they were told to do. This video isn't about motivation. It's not about blame. And it's not about quick fixes. It's about explaining why the modern money system feels different and what actually changed. Because when the rules change but the strategies don't, confusion feels like failure. Let's start with the most common assumption. For a long time, the formula was simple. Work hard, get a job, earn a salary, move forward. And for decades, that worked reasonably well. But salaries have one structural limitation. They trade time for money. No matter how high the salary, time doesn't scale. You can work harder, but there are still only 24 hours in a day. That's why salary growth feels linear. Raises come slowly. Expenses rise alongside them. The system rewards predictability, showing up, performing consistently, and fitting neatly into schedules. What it doesn't reward is leverage. So even when income increases, progress often feels capped. That's the salary trap. Not because salaries are bad, but because they were designed for stability, not independence. When people noticed this ceiling, they tried the obvious solution. If one income isn't enough, two should be better. And at first it was. Households gained more purchasing power, more flexibility, more options, but systems adapt. As dual incomes became normal, prices adjusted. Housing costs rose. Childcare became essential. Commutes lengthened. Time became scarce. More money entered the household, but more obligations followed. Schedules became tighter. Margins for error disappeared. Two incomes created stability, but not necessarily freedom. Many households became more fragile, not less. If one income disappeared, everything broke. This wasn't a moral failure, it was structural. And even then, many people still struggled. Which leads to the next layer. Being broke isn't just about income, it's about math. When money is tight, everything costs more. Late fees, higher interest, overdraft charges, smaller quantities at higher prices. Wealth absorbs shocks. Poverty magnifies them. A flat tire is an inconvenience for one person and a crisis for another. Not because of character, but because of buffers. Without margin, mistakes become expensive. That's how disadvantage compounds. It's not that poor decisions cause poverty. It's that instability creates penalties. The system charges premiums for uncertainty. And while people were adapting to this pressure, something else was happening quietly. Have you noticed that prices rise quickly, but almost never fall? That's not an accident. Once prices increase, systems recalibrate around them. Wages adjust. Rents reset. Contracts change. Expectations shift. Lowering prices creates friction. For businesses, cutting prices signals instability. So instead of reducing prices, they shrink portions, reduce quality, or add fees. Inflation doesn't reverse. It settles. That's why waiting for things to go back to normal rarely works. The system doesn't move backward easily. It stabilizes at a higher level, which leads to the final confusion many people feel today. Saving used to feel like progress. You put money aside, and it meant something. Today, saving often feels like standing still. That's because the role of saving changed. Inflation quietly erodes stored value, not immediately, but over time. Money that stays still loses purchasing power. Meanwhile, modern systems reward movement, spending, investment, circulation. This doesn't mean saving is useless. It means saving isn't designed to create growth. Saving creates stability. It provides a buffer. It absorbs shocks. Expecting it to build wealth leads to frustration. The mistake isn't saving. It's using old strategies in a new system. Once you see that, things start to make sense. The modern money system didn't become evil. It became different. The rules changed. The incentives shifted. The environment adapted. But most people were never told. So effort feels disconnected from results. Discipline feels unrewarded. And confusion feels personal. It isn't. The problem isn't working hard. It's applying yesterday's strategies to today's systems. Understanding how the system works doesn't guarantee success, but it restores clarity. And clarity is where better decisions begin. This channel exists to explain how the system actually works, without hype, without blame, and without noise. If this way of thinking resonates, you'll want to see what comes next.